Hi. I desperately want to talk about this evacuation quarantine thing and about the evacuation 4 years ago and the quarantine now. But my kids are home all the time, 24/7, no going to school, no going to friends, no nothing, and I am stressed. And I just did a 7-minute video trying to talk about the quarantine, but it's so all over the place, I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore. At this point, I might have to like type it out and just like read it to you. I don't know, but I was gonna make this a book haul video while talking about the quarantine, but I can't because I have children. And like I was saying in that video, which is just scrapped for now and I'll redo it later, my kids are like up before I'm up and they're pretty much awake after I go to bed. Like, I'm exhausted and I don't know how to stay up longer than they stay up. I've had my thyroid checked before. I've had my iron levels checked before. Everything seems to be fine. I'm just exhausted constantly. So who knows? Anyways, book mail. I read Faint Cold Fear, which was my first Karen Slaughter book that I read. And I also have Faithless from her. And those both take place in the Grant County series. And I think it's like a Faint Cold Fear is like number 3. And then Faithless is number like 5 or something. I'm not sure, but I bought them from my library, and so I wasn't buying like the series, and I figured it was just one of those books where you don't necessarily need to read them in order. But as I was reading it, I felt like it would have helped to have read the other books, but you didn't need to. There was enough information there. It feels like every case is is isolated to that one book, so you don't need the other books to like understand the case. But you do have the relationship between the people in the book and their past and how it affects them. So I started reading Faithless, and I'm a few chapters in, and I'm like, no, I need to go and buy the whole series because I need the relationship part of it and stuff. Just for me, I just wanted it, and I like it, and it was my first Karen Slaughter, and she is pretty gruesome and intense. So her books are not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But I ordered this book from Chapters, and it was like, yeah, ready to go, thanks for your order. And then I got an email saying, oh, this book no longer is on our website, so here's your money back. So I got it from Amazon instead. But Blindsided is the first Grant County thriller, and simply one of the best thriller writers working today by Gillian Flynn, best-selling author of Gone Girl, which I read Gone Girl and really enjoyed that. And I need to read more Gillian Flynn as well. You would think I would get so much more reading done during quarantine because you're home all day long. So there's only so much you can do, right? But no, I'm getting nothing done. My house is a disaster. I am not reading nearly as much as I want to, although I am almost done Alias Grace from Margaret Atwood, because my friend, she's like, here's a couple books I have on my Kobo waiting to be available to read. These ones come up, is there one you want to read? So I picked that one, and I've read that one in a couple days. I'm not done it yet, but I'm hoping to finish it today. But I still just feel like I'm not getting the reading done that I could be, being home all day long, because I have children and it's always noisy in my house. And I also have like 7 books on the go right now. And I mentioned at the beginning of the year that I am reading Hunger for Healing, and it's like the 12-step program but for Christians, and how to get a deeper walk with God and just a deeper spiritual life kind of thing. And I'm on step 4, and you're supposed to do like an inventory of yourself and resentments, fears, things like that. And so I sat down to do it today for some quiet time, but it's like, Mom, can you do this? Mom, can you do that? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I was supposed to be like diving deep into my resentments. And I'm like, I can't concentrate on these like heavy topics with kids around. So I feel like everything is just falling behind over and over and over again. I've barely read in my Bible lately. I'm following a Bible study online through the YouVersion app that our church is doing. And there's over 50 people connected on this Bible app. And I'm 2 weeks behind on it because every time I open it up, my kids start screaming. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, hey, this is a great time. I'm still in bed. I'll start reading it. No, my kid jumps in the bed and then comes out and just destroys the world. So I'm just so frustrated and not getting the reading I need to get done, that I want to get done. No one needs to read, unless it's for school kind of thing, but even then, that's something you've chosen to do. Anyways, Karen Slaughter, Blindsided. Hopefully I can start this in a couple days. Now, I got this super heavy book. You can't even see. Book outlet order just came in this morning. I'm so excited. So, quarantine, no school. I've been looking online. I'm not stressing about homeschooling the kids. I ordered some workbooks, which you're propped up on right now, for the kids to do, and getting my son, he's only in preschool, and then which is optional, and then when he goes into kindergarten next year, they'll be learning basically the same things, like cutting on a straight line, writing your name, things like that, the alphabet, you know? So I'm not worried about him, especially as all three of our kids, it's called ECDP, Early Childhood Development Program. Out of all three of our kids, only our middle daughter has completed ECDP, because our first daughter, like I said, we evacuated May 3rd, 2016. So she missed May and June, our oldest daughter. She was the only one in school at the time. So we evacuated and she didn't get to complete ECDP. And then our middle daughter went into ECDP and that was fine. She completed that and went on to kindergarten, and now quarantine. So our youngest, our son, is not completing ECDP either. But thankfully like I said, it's optional and he'll go into kindergarten. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. My other daughters are in grade 1 and 3, and I'm not too worried about them falling behind as long as I keep up with them a little bit. They're in French immersion. I don't speak French, so that's the biggest. Oh my gosh, I see why this box is so big. So that would be like the biggest concern. But my husband does speak French, and the teachers have sent a few things along for like reading and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about it. Anyways, this is why this box is so heavy. I bought the grade 3 complete curriculum from Book Outlet. And look at this thing. That's massive. So I don't know if we're gonna like go through all of this, obviously, but antonyms. So those are words, I guess. Reading skills, math skills, language arts. Let's see what else is in here. Writing skills. So that's good to keep my 8-year-old busy. Test prep. That's huge. And then I also, of course, got PreK Workbook, which is this big. So, it's Blue's Clues. So perfect. Color, shapes, and opposites. So he's got a few of those, which I said you are sitting on from Amazon. And I printed out some things like kind of like this idea for him to trace out. He was doing that and he's like, Mommy, I do this in school. Why do I have to do it now? Like, have you not noticed you haven't been in school for 2 weeks? I noticed. Anyway, grade 1. So that should be fun. Pray for me with this daughter because she's a little bit moody. Oh look, telling time. Oh, that's awesome because I gotta teach my kids how to tell time. Yay. Actually, before the quarantine, like that weekend, my daughter's like, I need to learn how to tie my shoes. And I'm like, you're 8, you should know how to tie your shoes. Let's sit down and get this done. And she's like, oh, that was pretty easy. And then it's like, oh, they're not in school anymore. So I'm like, now I don't have to worry about her tying her school shoes. But something to keep in mind to keep practicing shoe tying and telling time. Shoe tying and time telling. Spelling, things like that. So awesome. And then I did, because I had, those were $10 each. And then in order to get free shipping, you need to spend $45. I'm trying to think, somewhere said 65, but I'm pretty sure that Book Outlet was 45. But anyways, we'll see. So I grabbed a couple of books that were just like on my list and inexpensive enough to get me my free shipping. Ex-Muslim, How One Daring Prayer to Jesus Changed a Life Forever. And look at this book, is actually really pretty, and it's like that really soft feel paperback. It's really pretty. I like it. So it should be interesting. Mommy's not available right now. Ooh, this one's got a weird feel to it. Desired by God by Van Moody. Discover a strong, soul-satisfying relationship with God by understanding who He is and how much He loves you. Oh, the picture is Jesus. I get it.
What did you say?
And the crown of thorns.
Mommy, what did you say?
Sophie and Maya can sleep in the same bed together if they want.
I can't sleep in the same bed.
You didn't ask. This is my son about everything. The moody 4-year-olds apparently. The other 2 books I got is by Ted Dekker. My sister-in-law actually bought this one book years ago when we went on this little mini road trip, and I didn't realize. Oh, that one's like ripped. Okay, I'm gonna stop playing with it for a second. So I didn't realize that the book that she bought, we both like this author, but I didn't realize that this book takes place after this other series of books of his that I read. So it's called the Circle series, and it came out in like 2004. There was 3 of them. It was a trilogy, and then a few years later, he wrote a 4th book. So now it's just like the Circle series, and it's green, white, red. I think green is the 4th one that he wrote. And then white, red, and black. And all the covers are like a different color. So like the red one is white kind of thing. Anyways, I read it. Like, it's one of those ones where they put all the books together. So it's like this big, huge, chunky book. And I think I got rid of it. So I was looking for it because I ordered these books. And I'm like, well, it's been so long since I've read the Circle series that I'm going to have to like reread them to get back into these 2 books that I got. So I actually found them on audio, and that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to finish the Alias Grace and all the other Half the Sky and all the other books that I'm currently reading. Reflections and Prayers by Maria Shriver, all that stuff. So I found the 4 audiobooks on Hoopla, so I'm excited to jump into those soon. And it's not time travel. This guy, I need to find the description of it. I read it to my husband and it was really intense, the description. If you go on Goodreads, Black is The Birth of Evil, so it's the first book in the trilogy, and then Green is the book that he wrote after the trilogy. And I think it's a Circle series, so you can read Green at the beginning or the end, and it doesn't matter. I think it kind of loops around that way. Black, The Birth of Evil by Ted Dekker. Enter an adrenaline-laced epic where dreams and reality collide. Fleeing his assailants through deserted alleyways, Thomas Hunter narrowly escapes to the roof of a building. Then a silent bullet from the night clips his head and his world goes black. From the blackness comes an amazing reality of another world. A world where evil is contained. A world where Thomas Hunter is in love with a beautiful woman. Then he remembers the dream of the chase as he reaches to touch the blood on his head. Where does the dream end and reality begin? Every time he falls asleep in one world, he awakes in the other, both facing catastrophic disaster. Thomas is being pushed beyond his limits, even beyond the limits of space and time. Black is an incredible story of evil and rescue, betrayal and love, pursuit and death, and the terrorist threat unlike anything the human race has ever known. Some say the world hangs in the balance of every choice we make. Now the fate of 2 worlds hangs in the balance of one man's choice. So that's the first book of the Circle series. And that's why I want to read, because it's so in-depth with the different, like with the 2 worlds and evil and both of them collapsing and everything. Anyway, the book I got is called The 49th Mystic Beyond the Circle. And then it says 1. And this is a big paperback book. So it looks like they're able to get... They think that the link between the worlds is like gone, but maybe not. So, and it is just categorized as suspense. So I'm excited for this after I finish listening to like 60 hours of The Circle. And then, so this is the one that my sister-in-law bought, the 49th Mystic. And then this one, which is ripped and hardcover, where this one's soft cover. But Rise of the Mystics, Beyond the Circle 2. So I wonder if he'll write like 4 of these books or not. This is ripped. Sad. The book itself is just black. Without the dust jacket. Just black. And like white writing. Rise of the Mystics. So yeah, that's my little mini book haul, and I'm still waiting for a couple of things from Chapters, which is going very slowly, but I think they're probably pretty busy, and they're also doing free shipping during this time. So anyways, thank you for watching this very all over the place mess of a book haul, and I will be back with a video about my thoughts about the whole quarantine / the evacuation that we went through 4 years ago when this little guy was 8 months old. And how old are you now?
4.
He's 4 years old, and he's upset that he's not 8 years old, but we're enjoying the age of 4, right? Right? Can you say bye?
Bye.
Say thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Can you give a thumbs up?
Cookie.
Say subscribe.
Subscribe.
Bye.